Episode 30 is here. Wow. Long time no talk. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Blindside Sports. I'm Emmett Douglas, the host of this wonderful program. Sorry about the lack of uploads or podcasts the past week and a half. Really, I don't know, man. I just haven't posted, and I literally have no excuse. Like, maybe I'm just enjoying my free time before track season starts on Monday, as this is Wednesday, February 23rd. As I'm recording this, so I guess maybe I'm just enjoying my free time. But yeah, we got a banger episode for you guys. A lot of stories to talk about here on episode 30. Now, this is kind of a milestone, 30 episodes. So I gotta say it. I gotta be that basic. Hold on, I gotta be that basic guy who's just like, thank you for everything. You guys. Yeah, I'm gonna be that guy. Hate it if you want to. I don't care. But thank you guys so much for the support. Right? We've had, I'm growing a lot over on the Twitter community, which is really cool to see. Love to see it. So that's pretty awesome. And yeah, the support has been pretty nice. A lot of people saying nice things about my podcast. Can't thank you guys enough. Without you guys and not all the people I've interviewed, episode 30 would be a lot harder to come by. So, without further ado, why can't I speak today? Woo! Without further ado, boys, why don't we hop into this episode as we're coming to you on a Wednesday? The big story of the day was something that could be, pretty changing in a good way for for one team in the NBA, and that is the the New York City mayor has decided at this point, coming up in the near future, vaccine mandates aren't going to be required for New York workers to work. So what this means for the Brooklyn Nets, Kyrie Irving, unvaccinated, can't play at home games. You have him 50% of the time. Whenever they pass this law, which I've heard and seen some people say March 15th, Kyrie Irving could play all 100% of Brooklyn Nets games. Home, away. Yeah, he could play, which is pretty cool to see. I mean, that's one thing that was worrying me about the Nets, really, like how far they go in the playoffs, and is that home games are key. And if you don't have your second or third, probably second best player during the home games, then that's just rough, right? Like, that's really hard to come by. It's going to be hard to work with. So the Brooklyn Nets are really lucky, right? Now, does this say, oh, the Brooklyn Nets are going to win the championship, they're going to win the ring? No, I'm not saying that. Does it help them? Of course. We haven't seen what Ben Simmons can do in a Brooklyn Nets uniform yet. And that's going to be very key, guys. What will Ben Simmons do with a net? I don't know. Will he be mentally ready? I don't know. So I just think if you're Kyrie Irving, this is great, right? Like, we're not going to talk about the COVID side of stuff because all this COVID, just constantly talk about COVID's annoying. But if we're talking sporting wise, man, this is great stuff for the NBA and the Brooklyn Nets, especially the Brooklyn Nets, because, was Kyrie Irving, was he letting down his team? Yeah. But then again, if you're the Nets, you need Kyrie Irving to successfully win a championship. So having Kyrie Irving play the home games and the away games is the best thing that could happen for the Brooklyn Nets, right? Because you go to your home games and it's like he's just checked out. He's literally not in the building, right? Like, you can't have that. It's like an unreliable car, right? You can't take it on the highway, but you can take it on these roads. Like, your car can't speed up. That's what this Kyrie Irving stuff was for a long time, right? Unreliable. Very unreliable. So for me, this Kyrie Irving stuff is just really crucial for the Nets. You're obviously getting back Kyrie Irving. And like I said, do I like what he did? No. I'm not saying get vaccinated, right? Like, I have the vax, like I've said in multiple episodes, But like the pushing it on people is annoying. But when it comes down to letting a team down, there's stuff you got to do to be a team player, right? Whether you like it or not, it just has to happen. But if we're talking a basketball standpoint, Kevin Durant should be coming back from injury soon. Ben Simmons should be making his debut. The Nets, man, if they can overcome these boundaries with their mini big three, they had the big two. I don't know if Ben Simmons is officially a big three member. And I'd have to see how he played as a Brooklyn Net to kind of go that way. With the mini big two, man, or mini big three, definitely looking up for the Nets. Definitely looking up for the Nets. This is lucky, and if I said we're not going to talk about COVID, but it looks like stuff is getting normal, right? Stuff is starting to get back to where, hey, man, we don't have to worry about the papers, right? Washington is dropping the mask mandate, the state that I live in a month. So stuff's starting to get back to normal. To where this doesn't matter for Kyrie Irving, and now he can just officially be there for his team. I do think Kyrie Irving, KD, and Ben Simmons, that could be a little sketchy, like chemistry wise. But overall, I think it's a good move. Not a good move. I think it's a good job. I think it's good for the Nets, right? That Kyrie Irving can be back full time, 100% for you guys. Playing your home games. You have them for the playoffs if you guys make it. Really good. The good thing to happen, right? Even though, I'm not the biggest of Kyrie Irving fans, but, doesn't really matter. He's a good player, and I guess I have to admit that because I'm not biased. Blindside Sports, Emmett Douglas with you here on episode 30. We're coming to you from the Blindside Studios. Follow me on Twitter at EmmettNosi04. Instagram, I'm at EmmettNosi. If you want to go follow the show, where it's not all my personal tweets, it's just stuff about the podcast, which, I mean, if I tweet a lot, so I don't think you want your timeline cluttered, but some people do. I'm on Twitter at Blindside Sports 00. No, sorry. I keep saying I'm going to do this, make all the usernames the same. I just haven't gotten down to it. Blindside Pod 11 is the Twitter. Blindside Sports 00 is Instagram. And I'm also on TikTok. Yeah. I'm at Blindside Sports 7 on TikTok. So go give those things a fat follow. Go show some love. Go slap the follow button. Go give it a nice hit. A nice slap to the dome. Blindside Sports, Emmett Douglas with you guys. Thank you for tuning in this episode. If you haven't already, be sure to like the video if you're on YouTube, comment on YouTube, turn on notifications, download the podcast if you're listening on audio, and share it with your friends. Without sharing it with your friends, we'd be nowhere because word of mouth advertising, guys. I don't know if you guys knew this, but word of mouth advertising is very good. Underrated, right? If you can gas up a podcast to your friend, hey, man, this Emmett guy, he does some good stuff. Rather than here on a TV or me saying it, hey, man, it's going to be cool to see, right? They're going to want to be, oh, my friend likes this. Other people that I know like this. That was a really long spiel. That got off topic really quick. Blindside Sports, Emmett Douglas with you. Now, let's move on to the Deshaun Watson situation. Now, on Monday, they said that they could the criminal charges of Deshaun Watson's allegations of how do I say this, the Johnson, right? Him getting a little him and his Johnson and the massage ladies, right? That we could have a criminal result by April 1st. All right. So criminal by April 1st, which is going to help his trade status, right? Now, the other stuff, like the civil lawsuits, I think Harden wants those to be delayed past April 1st. So my thoughts on this. We've got The first one. Will a Deshaun Watson trade be happening if everything goes right April 1st? Will we see this before draft day? I think I just don't see us having a trade by draft day because like all this uncertainty, depending how it goes, we could have one by the season. And it's just a weird situation too because if the NFL comes out and says, "Hey man, we're not doing anything," right? And if it's clear there's no punishment, that's why I think the trade is going to happen, right? Unless Deshaun Watson obviously gets criminally charged for some of these cases, then that's where I believe it's 9 of them he can get. Wow, was it really 9? Sounds right. Not 9 cases he can get criminally charged for. So if if the criminal charge stuff happens, depending on that punishment, who knows like when we're gonna see him? He might sit another season. If he's not, nothing really bad happens criminal wise, then we could see Deshaun Watson maybe get traded, right? I'm not like a legal expert, so I'm not gonna like just spew a bunch of BS on the podcast because I try to have my opinions thought out and legit. But from what it looks like, Hart wants the civil stuff to be pushed back, the criminal stuff to be the judges are gonna have that by April 1st. Which if everything works out in Watson's favor, that's gonna help him because we could see a draft thing happen. I don't know if that's gonna happen. I'm not a legal expert, like I said, but you never know. It's a waiting game. Number 3, right? Not my number 3 topic here on Blindside Sports. Emmett Douglas with you guys hanging out on a Wednesday night as I'm recording this. Now, LeBron James has made a bunch of headlines as of late. The first one that I want to dive into is him going to any team to play with his son, Bronny James, who's a junior in high school right now. Sorry if you heard that. My phone went off. But yeah, they want to play. Him and his son want to play together. And that's 2 seasons after. So like he's gonna have a senior and then college or whatever, however that works, or whatever he does. And LeBron said he's willing to go over to any team, right? Wherever his son goes, he's willing to go. And that situation is weird too, I must say, because his son is like 34th in the junior class. That's not at this moment. That's not first round material. Wouldn't be shocked if he did get taken in the first round because like LeBron. But then again, you kind of have to wonder, like 39-year-old, 40-year-old LeBron. Do we want that for Bronny who's like, is Bronny good? We don't really know yet. He's 34th in the class. That doesn't shine out like to be like the next LeBron James, where like people thought LeBron was gonna be like the GOAT, or at least be in the league like around the same time as around Bronny James' age right now. It was pretty certain. So it's a weird situation, and I do think some teams are gonna bite though, just because it's LeBron James, right? And hey, man, Bronny could work out. He's a junior. Something could happen, right? But he still has like a year left of basketball, year and a half left of basketball before he graduates, and then he could improve, right? I'm not saying he couldn't, but at this moment of time, like LeBron, I don't know what he's going to be like at 40, right? He's still playing dang good, but every year he just kind of has these health issues that pop up, or, like a sore knee that misses him 5 to 10 games, a sore back, whatever it is, like a sprained knee, or, something pops up to where LeBron just misses time, and he's gonna be on the big 4-0 in a couple of years when like Bronny's coming out. So it's just like, hey man, does the team want to pay that? And if like LeBron's truly willing to do anything, he might take a pay cut to where that's gonna happen. But who knows? We're gonna have to wait and see. And the next thing I want to say is, or talk about, is like the LeBron James Lakers stuff, right? Like There's reports of him going back to Cleveland too. I think he's just super unhappy with the Lakers. I just realized I just forgot to turn on my light. I bet the lighting's awful. Hold on, I'll be back. Yeah, and reports of LeBron leaving, going back to Cleveland, and all like literally like all of these, a lot of these NBA stories are LeBron James dominated, right? And my thing is I actually wouldn't be shocked. Hold on, how long does LeBron? Let's see, how long does he have left? I gotta know, like, how long does our guy Braun have on his contract? Because that's key. I didn't even think to look that up. So the official report is if LeBron James doesn't sign a contract in 2022, his contract extension 2022 summer, then he's bound to leave the Lakers. And that'll be in 2023 when he leaves the Lakers. So he still has the rest of the season and next season left before he leaves. And I think the reason why is a lot of stuff's going wrong on the Lakers team, right? Like Anthony Davis always hurt. Russell Westbrook just not panning out, right? And I think part of this is on, like injuries and players just not working out. But I feel like LeBron, you could partially blame for this. And the reason why you could partially blame LeBron for this, and part of it is the Lakers too, is LeBron James, it's kind of safe to say he kind of controls what's going down in La La Land or wherever he plays, right? Like apparently LeBron, AD, and Westbrook, when they were, this happened, they met each other, somewhere. They all met up, they linked, and they had like a whole conversation about like plans in the future for this team and all of this, right? So, I think it's kind of LeBron for like recruiting Westbrook there, right? Like I said this at the beginning of the year, or when the trade happened, excuse me, pardon me, where who knows? This trade couldn't, like the chemistry just might not work, right? Like Westbrook's not a good shooter. I feel like the Lakers need like perimeter shooting. Maybe you could have gone for a Brad Beal or a CJ McCollum or like a Darren Fox or Tyrese Halliburton, like, but that'd be more low key. But like CJ McCollum is a guy I'd think of too that you could go for, or like a Dame Lillard or something like that, where someone who could shoot, right? So I think part of it's on LeBron, and the Lakers also have part to blame. Like I said, I think guys should have control, but you as the front office, you're the front office, you're the GM. Like Pelinka, you can say no, man. I don't think this would be a good idea. I don't like this move. I am against this. Let's negotiate for something else. And do I think, maybe next year something could happen? Okay, yeah, sure. But there's just a lot with this Lakers team that's just they're not in like they're like the 7th seed right now. They still have a slight chance, I think. They're 9th place in the Western Conference. They're 27-31. And we're at the All-Star break, so maybe they get some hope after the All-Star break, but it's kind of hard when Anthony Davis is out for a month with a foot situation. And, even if the Lakers do manage to get like an 8th or 7th seed, it's going to be hard to beat those powerhouse teams in the West, like the Suns, something like that, like the Jazz, Grizzlies, Mavs, whatever. One of those teams are going to be hard to beat for the Lakers, especially the Suns, man. You don't want that 8th seed. Like the Suns are really dangerous. So this LeBron James situation is interesting. I'm sure there'll be a lot more reports coming out. And the reason he would want to go to the Cavaliers too is the Cavaliers are really, really, really doing something good this season. No one expected it. So I think, ooh, wow. Wow. We're not going to get political here. Just saw a crazy Twitter notification about the Ukraine stuff. Whew, that's crazy. But yeah, that Cavaliers team is young and it's dang good. So I think LeBron James is like, oh, 2 years, they're going to improve. Why not go back to Cleveland? It's like that. I think that is a possibility of happening, or that has a possibility of happening. Emmett Douglas on Blindside Sports, episode number 30. Follow me on Twitter at EmmettNosey04. Follow the show, Blindside Pod 11, Insta. My personals at Emmett Nosey. The show's at Blindside Sports 00. And I'm also on TikTok. I'm in TikTok at Blindside Sports 7. All right. All right, gamers. Go follow me on TikTok. You won't regret it. I post a clip to this podcast. All right. Let's dive into a situation that I talked about last week. And all I said was, I'm very fatigued by this. This situation, Aaron Rodgers situation, makes me, man, I have the Rodgers sickness. I am so, the story's just annoying at this point. I don't know. But Aaron Rodgers, at about like 8:30 on Tuesday night or Monday night, early Tuesday morning, depending where you were, like around 8:30 to 9 p.m. Aaron Rodgers dropped a bombshell Instagram post, right? And he basically goes on to say, how he's, thank you to, Shailene Woodley, David Bakhtiari, Jordan Love, my quarterback's coach, Devontae, Randall Cobb. I really appreciate you guys, right? And at the time, right, with all this uncertainty going around of Aaron Rodgers' future, it definitely looked a little weird. And I said on Twitter at MNOC04, I will retweet this, so it's at the top of my pin. I said this might mean something because it's Aaron Rodgers, right? This could be something because it was just super weird. But there's like a 40 or a 30% chance that this could be nothing, right? Like around, God, what a weird story too. Like him and Shailene Woodley like aren't even broken up apparently. But I did say like going through a breakup, maybe he's rethinking, who he's grateful for, all this, right? I thought that's a possibility, and this means this has nothing to do with his future. Right? Does that still mean, anything? Yeah, sure. Okay, maybe it does have something to do with his future. But yesterday on his weekly appearance with Pat McAfee, Aaron Rodgers says this. He says that no, it doesn't, my decision it's not affecting, this post wasn't, my, saying goodbye, all this. I was on a 12-day cleanse to reset my mind, right? Now, I heard something that this cleanse, let's just say, seemed really bad, right? Not very scientific. I'm gonna keep it tame. But, he went on a cleanse and he's just like, I decided to do a thank you, gratitude post, all of this, right? And I just think, look, dude, I get it. You're kind of thinking about your life, all this, look, I mean, changing NFL team, staying on an NFL team or retiring, that's possibly a big move. But I just feel like the first thing you want to do out of your stupid reboot or whatever it was, or cleanse, reboot, whatever it was, your 12-day thing, let's go to Instagram. That's just funny to me, right? Like, and I think Aaron Rodgers I think he's different, but I think too, he's saying it's not meaning anything, but I wouldn't be shocked if this was an illusion to like 3 weeks down the line, or, I think Aaron Rodgers said before March something, he wants to make his decision. It's like 3 weeks down the line, this could mean that Aaron Rodgers, this could be an illusion. He's tricking all of us. I wouldn't be shocked. Like, and it's just crazy too how like he had like a picture of Woodley, and then like the story broke that like, hey, Woodley and Aaron Rodgers even break up. Like, what? I was like, what a story that was, right? Like, caught us all off guard. So, Aaron Rodgers, thank you very much. We really appreciate you doing what you did here. Yeah, I gotta respect it. No, I'm joking, but a lot of people are saying, "Hey, why don't you go private?" And unfortunately, a lot of people, no offense, old heads, but you all like to say that going private's the move. In the society, in the time we are in, private for a lot of people just isn't really a thing. Like it's like they don't go private. They don't know how to. They don't like to. I don't know. Right? Like I'm sure obviously I'm not gonna deny it saying, hey, if you're Devontae, Aaron Rodgers called me and personally thanked me. I'm not gonna say that'd be more cool. But no one goes private anymore, man. We are in the social media era. Emmett Douglas right here on Blindside Sports. Hope you guys are having a good day. This is episode 30. Hope you guys are enjoying the show. Like, comment, share on noties, download the pod, share the pod. Word of mouth advertising is the best. Now, this is another crazy story. Carson Wentz, man, he is leaving the Colts. He is saying, see ya. Well, the Colts are saying see ya to him. And, they either going to release him or trade him by March 16th, I think. And look, man, this is a take I will admit I was absolutely wrong on. Yeah, hit the buzzer. That was an imaginary buzzer. I don't have a soundboard, but I was wrong. I thought the Colts could do something this year. Were they good? Yes. But classic Carson Wentz choking at a time he couldn't choke, right? Week 17 and week 18 were embarrassing performances. I understand week 17, he just got off the COVID list the day before. But week 18, losing to the Jaguars in that fashion, ultimately costing you, the Indianapolis Colts, the playoffs. It was just horrible. And he was very average in that game. I think we even talked about on here. He was just not very good. And it was a situation that kind of, if the Colts are just fed up with it, right? They have that good roster and they need someone who could convert in bigger times when they need him to convert. The Colts were so close to making the playoffs. I feel like they could have done, like Jonathan Taylor could have done some damage in that playoffs. So I definitely think the Colts, you guys need to move on from Carson Wentz. He was not good. He was good most of the season, until week 17, week 18. Right? I get week 17 is on the COVID list, but week 18 there's no excuses for that one. Not a good performance. They got absolutely mollywatched by the Jacksonville Jaguars. And if you're the Colts, you have a great roster. And if you can get a, quarterback that's more clutch, or not clutch, but it's better, like a Kirk Cousins, maybe. Jameis Winston would be interesting too. Then you got to move on. I feel like after how embarrassing that Carson Wentz performance in week 17 and week 18 was, and how much potential that Colts team showed, right? They were balling. I tweeted out, and I told Covino and Rich week 9, or was it maybe week like 10 or 11, week 9, 10, 11, around that radius. It was November. Let's see. Pull it up. It was okay. It was the end of November where I pulled this one. I tweeted this. I said that Carson Wentz I said that the Colts, they were like 1-4, and then they were going crazy. So I tweeted out, I'm like, the Colts, man, you got to watch out. the Colts, man, they're a good franchise, right? They are good, and they're my dark horse team to do something in the playoffs. Then week 17 and week 18. Thank you, Carson Wentz. Really appreciate it for ruining my prediction. I love you, Carson Wentz. Emmett Douglas here on Blindside Sports. Now, speaking of moving away from a quarterback, the Niners are saying not so fast with their quarterback, Jimmy G. Now, Jimmy G, there's a lot of rumors that like the Niners were going to trade him at the start of the offseason, officially hand the car keys over to Trey Lance and let Trey Lance put it in the ignition and take over, right? Take over driving the shit for the 49ers. But that's not happening. It might happen, but according to Adam Schefter on the Ari Mirog show, sorry, I don't know how to say dude's name, but Adam was like not so fast on Trey Lance, Jimmy G, or on Jimmy G leaving. Trey Lance is kind of behind, and I'm just like, look, dude, at this point, you guys gave up a lot of assets to move up 9 spots, by the way, when there was probably still going to be a quarterback available. Now thinking, like, if he's truly that behind, which I don't think I think you should still move on from Jimmy G, but if he's, like, truly that behind, then the Niners might have made a mistake. But still, you move up 9 spots. I think you just got to trust him, right? Like, Jimmy G was good for a lot of the season. There was a couple of games he sucked. But the playoffs, Dallas Cowboys, it looked like they're going to win. And then the fourth quarter, Jimmy G made some plays where it just wasn't there, right? He kind of choked at the time he couldn't choke. Green Bay Packers, not very good. Blame that on cold weather, right? Jimmy G had an okay game, not very good. Got sacked a couple times. The Packers lost that game, right? If that special team error never happened, the Packers might have won that one. The NFC Championship against the Rams, he was good, but the Rams came back and did their thing, right? He wasn't good in the Rams game. He was all right. I'm sorry. So I just feel like he shows winning, but in crucial moments, Jimmy G just makes some errors where you're like, oh, wow. And the thing is, too, is Trey Lance doesn't have to do that much, right? That Niners team is really stacked. That team is crazy. So Lance doesn't have to do that much where, you have Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk, Eli Mitchell at running back. You have that good defense. And it's kind of a running team at this point. So I still think you move on from Jimmy G, get those assets, get his salary kind of he's on a big contract. I think you got to hand the keys to Trey Lance to show that trust. We picked you in the first round for a reason, Trey Lance. And, okay, maybe I wouldn't be too salty. I wouldn't be too mad if, okay, we gave Trey Lance another half a season to do something, get ready more. And then we move Jimmy G at the trade deadline. That's another possibility. But I just think you, at some point very, very soon, you have to at least give Trey Lance a chance. And I think that time, especially, okay, if they didn't trade up 9 spots and give up all these assets, I'd be more down with keeping Jimmy G. If you picked him at 12 instead of 3. But you gave up all these assets. So I just think you just have to show some trust to your rookie quarterback at this point, as hard as it may be. And, I get why the Niners are doing it, but, like, can Jimmy G stay healthy another year? I hate to say it, but Blindside Sports, Emmett Douglas with you guys. Hope you guys are enjoying the show. Make sure to leave a like, follow me on social media, and share it, because word of mouth advertising is the best way of advertising. Yeah, the Steelers have hired Brian Flores as a defensive assistant and a linebackers coach. And I personally really like, I think it's cool the Steelers to kind of give Flores that other opportunity. And I really like it's cool to see, despite all the lawsuits, do I think he, should have been a head coach somewhere? Yeah. But when a lawsuit happens and it gets in the way of that, then it gets in the way of that, even, no matter how unfortunate it really was. So yeah, I just think it's a cool move. I love to see Flores get hired. Love to see it. Emmett Douglas, Blindside Sports. The next thing I want to talk about here, the last two things I actually want to dive into are the first one being this whole NBA dunk contest was crap, right? It hasn't been very good for the past couple of years, right? A lot of people hating. I have an exclamation to me that makes perfect sense, but to you, I don't know if it does. I don't think getting Rivets to answer just. I don't know. I guess I just don't like change. Maybe that's the answer. I don't know. But my exclamation I have for you guys is this. Back in the 90s, 2000, or even early 2000s, even early 2010s, this game was, a lot of slashers, people driving in, throwing the ball down with aggression into the hoop. This game has changed. These younger guys are learning, hey, man, instead of, running up to the ball, slamming the ball into the hoop, like a 360 windmill, they're doing all these 3-point contests. They are learning how to shoot the ball. A lot of, younger people's idols, Steph Curry, Ray Allen, LeBron, Kobe, a lot of these people's idols. Kobe could throw it on a mean one, but like the game is changing from all these like guys who just go into the rim to a 3-point dominant game. So where I do think the dunk contest is going to be, a lot of players, shouldn't have been where they were. Like the dunk contest isn't going to be as good. But I think, like some players just, I feel like maybe you could have had better choices for the dunk contest. Obi Toppin that was like the best guy in the dunk contest. I think Obi Toppin was like unreal. So, yeah, I just think, to me, it's quite simple why this dunk contest is changing and why it's not changing for the better either. Like there was like no 50 score dunk at all during that dunk contest, which was kind of crazy too. Blindside Sports, Emmett Douglas hanging out with you guys. Now, we have to talk about this. You can hit me up on Twitter or Instagram with your thoughts on this one because it's kind of an interactive thing. But how was your first weekend without football? What did you do? Did you watch sports? What did you do? I'm gonna share mine, right? I love the game of football, but it is kind of nice that you have your Sunday available. And like I of course watched the dunk contest, 3-point contest. I watched the All-Star game highlights because I was like, doing stuff on Sunday. I wasn't really too focused on the All-Star game. For the NBA, I also listened to a bunch of like talk radio and just chilled. But dude, I will say though, as much as it is nice to have your Sundays back and all of this. God, dude, football is just crazy. Like it's just such a fun time to have football, and it brings the party, the activity, the talking, like but like not having the games being played, man. It's just it kind of sucks, man. Like I said, last episode, it's like Super Bowl, you're so hype. After Super Bowl, you realize, oh, no football, no games being played until August, and then they're preseason, so it doesn't matter. That's rough. So yeah, Emmett Douglas, Blindside Sports. Now the next thing I want to dive into is the Winter Olympics. Now, apparently the ratings are garbage for the Olympics, right? Not very good. And to be real, I usually, we hear something about the Winter Olympics, but we haven't really heard much, right? We had that one debacle a couple weeks ago, and then we had the story which I'm about to get to in a minute with we'll get to that. It's a good story. But the Olympics just weren't talked about. And I feel like a lot of people weren't tuned in. And I feel like the main reason is a lot of the Olympics took place like around the time, there's still football going on, first of all. And second of all, I just think Winter Olympics is just not there, right? Like a lot of people aren't interested in the Winter Olympics. Summer Olympics, I think, are better. And there's more storylines on the Summer Olympics this year. Like we had Sha'Carri Richardson with the weed situation, Simone Biles quitting. Like there's stuff to talk about to draw people into the Olympics. I'm sure a lot of people didn't even realize that the Olympics were on. Like I could confidently say some people were like, what? Who? The Olympics? Never heard of them. But the main story out of I only heard like 2 or 3 stories talked about on the Olympics, and one of them was a joke. Not a joke, but like kind of like a story that you joke around with. A skier, man, I feel so bad for this guy too. A skier had a frozen willy. Right? This guy, the Johnson, the sausage, whatever you call it, bro. When I say I feel bad for this guy, I genuinely mean this. This guy's meat got frozen, dude. Oh, this guy. So it was apparently 1 degree. He was a skier. 1 degree, both wind chill, negative 28 degrees. God, dude. All of it for 28th place, too. And I'm like, dude. Like, I feel so bad, man. Like, that had to be the worst possible feeling. Like, well, like having, like, how do you, I gotta ask, if any doctor is listening to my show, right? Any medical professional, anyone who's certified to be in the medical game, hit me up, tweet at me, DM me, do whatever. How do you, when your situation gets frozen, when your meat gets, when you have a situation down there like that, how does that work? That had to do, like, how do you like I feel like putting it under the heater just wouldn't work. Like, and like, does that damage something down there too? It's like, God, dude, I like 28th place. I don't know if it's worth it, but God, dude, I guess these people have compassion for the Olympics. Sorry to end on such a cringy story, but it was funny. Blindside Sports, Emmett Douglas with you. This has been episode 30. If you guys enjoyed this episode, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, comment, download the podcast, share with your friends, follow me on social media. Good. Bye, people.